This is a recorded lecture for Topic A3.1.2, Polymers. And from the IB, we need to be able to discuss frame, shell, solid, and combinations of frame and shell, and of course solid structures, and how they're used in the design of products. And we need to understand that materials are classified as natural and human-made, including, in this case, polymers. So most plastics are produced from petrochemicals, but because of environmental concerns, bioplastics are being developed as well as new methods to reuse, reduce, and recycle petroplastics. The raw materials for plastics is oil, and it's extracted from one country and then exported to other countries where conversion takes place. Then the plastic can be re-exported at considerable cost due to extraction, transport, conversion. We need to be aware of that process. And when we're selecting materials, we need to consider the moral, ethical, and environmental implications of our decisions. So a polymer is a synthetic material made from chemical compounds commonly referred to as plastics. And here are some different types of plastics. We'll be going through those later. Plastics are polymers, and polymers are very large and usually long molecules composed of base units called monomers. So the word poly means many, mono means one, so we're taking these one mers or molecules. Mer in this case is referring to molecules, so we're taking these single molecules and linking them together in order to form long chains, which are called polymers or many molecules. Plastics are formed from hydrocarbons such as ethylene and propylene. Ethylene and propylene are obtained from crude oil. When you refine crude oil, you heat it up, and as you heat it up, it's going to differentially cool, and you'll get different products out of it. So you can get diesel and heating oil, you can get light spirits like benzene, you get petrol, which is gasoline, you get raw materials for chemicals, and so you can see that these are where we get our different plastics from. Thermoplastics are a type of plastic that can be heated and formed into a new shape repeatedly. Thermoplastics are probably what you're most used to when you see plastics. This is shampoo bottles and water bottles and all that kind of stuff. They're linear chain molecules that have weak secondary bonds between the chains. This makes them quite ductile. They'll have low stiffness. They can easily be injection molded. They can be reshaped after heating, and they're easy and cost effective to manufacture. So this is what I mean about the lack of bonds between the different polymers. And that means it can be heated and reshaped. So you'll see with the thermosetting plastics, which is the other type of plastic that we're going to talk about, there'll be bonds between the polymers in the thermosetting plastics. Here's some different thermoplastics. I'm not going to talk you through all of these, but here are the properties and context for all of them. So please have a look at this. This is polypropylene, polyethylene, polyethylene terephthalate, ABS, high impact polystyrene, polyvinyl chloride, and we're getting to thermosetting plastics. So this is a type of plastic that once you form it into shape, you can't be reformed into a different shape, or not easily. Thermosetting plastics have linear chain molecules with strong primary bonds between the chains, and I'll show you that in a second. And they generally have high stiffness. They have higher strength than thermoplastics, but you can't reheat and remold them. They will usually just char and burn. So you can see here with thermosetting plastic, we've got these bonds between the chains, and that makes them difficult to reheat. If you reheat them, they just degrade and break apart like this. Some different thermosetting plastics. So again, here's the properties and the design context. We have polyurethane, urea formaldehyde, melamine. This is probably the one that you guys are most familiar with. If you go to a cafeteria, they often use melamine plates. So you'll see the plates here. Kitchenware is often used in cafeterias because of its hardness and its chemical resistance and its resistance to moisture. So they're actually used in cafeterias because they're relatively cheap and they hold up pretty well. Epoxy resin is another one that you're probably pretty used to. Now, if we're going to try and recover and dispose of plastics, nearly all plastics can be recycled depending on the economic, technical, and logistical factors that you're willing to put into them. Thermoplastics can be easily recycled, but you have to separate them. So there's a range of chemical compounds, and therefore they need to be sorted for recycling. Thermoset plastics are not easy to recycle, and they're expensive. You need to grind them into a powder, and this adds time and cost. That means they're usually sent to landfills. Some plastics are not accepted at recycling plants due to their chemical compounds and the facility capabilities of that particular recycling plant. Again, here's this chart, goes through some different recyclable plastics, and you can see the different products that are made from these different plastics. I think you should be familiar with some of these. So for instance, you should be familiar with PET right here. And this is, things like cups and jars and trays and bottles, water bottles. This high density polyethylene, or HDPE, is what we use for like shampoo bottles and things like that. It's quite common. Polyvinyl chloride is used especially for plumbing, but lots of other products also. Low density polyethylene, this is what we use to make, for instance, squeeze bottles and trash bags and six-pack rings. Polypropylene, we use this to make yogurt tubs and cups and juice bottles and straws, so have a look at those. Polystyrene, we use this to make styrofoam, so packing styrofoam. It's often when you see this. And then, of course, we have these others, which could be a lot of different types of plastics like PLA and ABS. There are some natural polymers. Cotton is a natural polymer. Latex from trees. In fact, these are all rubber products right here. So, natural latex comes from trees, and they cut the bark and it drips out, and then they can make that into tires by adding sulfur. They can make it into rubber bands. Crustacean shells like chitin, that's a polymer. Spaghetti, the carbohydrates in spaghetti are of course a polymer. Eggs are a polymer. Silk is a polymer, and wood is a natural type of polymer. Now, how do we apply these? So for a frame structure, you can see that plastic is actually a good option for frame structures. So, here's a frame right here. This shelf is a frame. So plastics are good for frame structures. You'll often see them used in frame structures. Shell structures, you can see that plastics are actually quite good for shell structures. This is a bubble hotel. It's completely made out of plastic. This is plastic over top of some sort of strange geodesic dome, but you can see that these make good shell structures. It's difficult to find a good example of solid structures made out of plastic, but these are actually two types of polymers: the natural polymer, the wood, and a synthetic polymer, which is the resin in this countertop. And you can see that they're mixed together to make this countertop. Some advantages and disadvantages of using polymers are that some advantages, it's low density and lightweight. So this is its primary advantage. This is why we use it, for instance, in things like water bottles and stuff like that, because it's much lighter to ship around compared to, say, glass bottles. It has a high strength to weight ratio. It's excellent at being formed and molded. It's corrosion and chemical resistant, and they have good thermal and electrical insulation properties. The disadvantages, and this depends on the type of plastic. So thermal setting plastics tend to be stiffer and harder, but the thermoplastics tend to have a low stiffness and have low hardness. So it can have a low stiffness if it's a thermoplastic. If it's thermal setting plastic, it's probably going to have a much higher stiffness. They all don't really have good temperature resistant properties. You can't put them into very hot environments because they will just melt or burn. They are flammable, so you have to be careful around flames. They're susceptible to UV degradation, so if they're exposed to sunlight, it can cause plastics to become brittle and break apart, and you get all those like microplastics and things like that. There's a big environmental impact from plastics, especially the non-biodegradable types. And again, depending on the plastic you're using, they can have a low hardness or stiffness. Thank you for watching.